Good morning, friends. I am S. Anand, Assistant Professor, Department of Sociology, SGM Arts, Science and Commerce College, Chandravalli, Chitradurga. Today, I would like to discussion about Western sociologist Herbert Spencer, his brief life history, and his main works, and his contribution, especially the Spencer social evolution theory and the theory of organic analogy. There are two important contributions of Spencer. Herbert Spencer lived during 1820 to 1903. He was a British philosopher and sociologist, was a major figure in the intellectual life of the Victorian era. He is often called the second founding father of sociology. He was one of the principal proponents of evolutionary theory in the mid 19th century. Brief life history. Spencer was born in Derby of England on 27th April 1820, the eldest of nine children but the only one to survive infancy. His father, Spencer, was a school teacher but an unconventional man. Herbert, due to his ill health, he could not go to any conventional school. He received some education from his father. Herbert was strongly influenced by the individualism and the anti establishment and anti clerical views of his father. At the age of 13, he went to home of his uncle Thomas, whom he received his further education. A person of athletic interest, he joined the staff of the London and Birmingham Railway Company as a civil engineer. But his early 20s turned to journalism and political writings and became an editor of The Economist. It is one of the greatest English publications during that period. In 1851, Spencer's first book released, such as Social Statics or The Conditions to Human Happiness, appeared. In this work, Spencer presents an account of the development of human freedom and a defense of individual liberties. Upon the death of his uncle Thomas in 1853, Spencer received a small inheritance which allowed him to devote himself to writing without depending any regular employment or alternative employment. In 1855, Spencer published his second book, The Principles of Sociology, was much less successful than Social Statistics but grateful. Thus, thus time Spencer began to experience serious health problem, especially predominantly mental, that affects him for the rest of his life. He embarked upon lengthy project, the nine volume A System of Synthetic Philosophy from 1862 to 1893, which provided a systematic account of his views in biology, sociology, ethics, and politics. His reputation was at its peak level in the 1870 and early 1880, and he was nominated for the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1902. Spencer's health significantly deteriorated in the last two decades of his life, and he died in relative seclusion following a long illness on December 8, 1903. Within his lifetime, some 1 million copies of his book had been sold. His work had been translated into French, German, Spanish, Italian, Russian, and other languages. Main works of Spencer. First one, The Nature and Reality of Religion First principles, the principles of biology, 2 volumes, the principles of psychology, the principles of sociology, 3 volumes, the principles of ethics, 2 volumes, descriptive sociology, 2 volumes, the proper scheme of government, social statics, education, intellectual, moral, physical, and the study of sociology, the man versus the state, data of ethics, facts and comments. His ashes are interred in the eastern side of London Highgate Cemetery, facing Karl Marx grave. At Spencer funeral, the Indian nationalist leader Swami Krishna Varma announced a donation of United States $1,000 to establish a lectureship at Oxford University. This is brief life history of Spencer. And next, Spencer theory of evolution. It is a popular contribution of Spencer. Social evolution is used to explain the evolution of human society. The term evolution derived from the Latin word evolere, which means unfold or to develop. In the first volume of a system of synthetic philosophy entitled First Principles, Spencer argued that all phenomena could be explained in terms of lengthy process of evolution in things. This principle of continuity was that homogeneous organisms are unstable, that organisms develop from simple to more complex and heterogeneous forms. Spencer, all natural and social development reflected the university of law. Beginning with the laws of life, the conditions of social existence and the recognition of life as a fundamental value, moral science can deduce what kinds of laws promote life and produce happiness. Spencer recognized that there were differences in what happiness specially consists in general. However, happiness is the surplus of pleasure over pain. Spencer maintained that there was a natural mechanism, an innate moral sense in human beings by which they come to arrive at certain moral intuitions and from which laws and conduct might be conducted. Spencer believed a manifestation of his general idea of the persistence of force, as this persistence of force was a principle of nature and could not be created artificially. Spencer held that no state or government could promote moral feeling any more than it could promote the existence of physical force. Spencer believed in two kinds of knowledge. First one, knowledge gained by the individual, and second one, knowledge gained by the race. Intuition or knowledge learned unconsciously was the inherited experience of the race. According to Spencer, evolution pervaded the inorganic as well as organic realm. His voluminous work also treated superorganic evolution, which means social evolution, and evolution of superorganic products, which means cultural evolution. According to Lewis A. Coser, the very foundation of Spencerism is the evolutionary doctrine or the law of evolution. In his first principles, he traced everything in the world back through causal science to two fundamental factors. These are matter and motion. According to Spencer, the law of evolution is the supreme law of every becoming. Spencer developed his basic three laws and four secondary propositions, each building upon each and all upon the doctrine of evolution. The three basic laws. First one, the law of persistence of force, some ultimate cause that transcends knowledge. Second one, the law of the indestructibility of matter. Third one, the law of continuity of motion. The first law. The first law is energy of force stressed to persist. In the course of evolutionary change, there is no increase in energy or force. Energy or force is persistence. It undergoes no change. Energy or force is the cause of evolution, but it is unaffected by the evolutionary process. Second one, the second law is matter is indestructible. Matter has one form of aspect of energy is never destroyed. It may undergo formal change. The changes in the form of matter are responsible for the evolutionary process. But the fundamental nature of matter never changes. The basic elements of matter not destroyed but conserved. Third one, the third law is continuous and it is never wholly dissipated. There are, of course, changes in the form of motion. On account of these changes, there are stages in the evolutionary process. There is a perpetual continuity of motion in the world. All things continue in motion. The four secondary propositions. First one, persistence of the relationship between the forces, which means harmony of all laws. Second one, principle of moral changes and uniformity. Third one, principle of least resistance and greatest attraction. And next one, principle of gradual motion. First one, harmony of all laws. According to Spencer, there must be, there must be harmony among the various laws of evolution. No two laws should contradict each other. There exists a uniformity or regularity of relationship among defined phenomena in the world. The world is an order of elements. Second one, the principle of formal changes and uniformity. Matter and motion is not completely destroyed. These undergo changes in form only, of course. During formal change, the quantum of matter and motion remains static. The force, the elements of matter, the motion are never lost in the process of change. They are merely transformed into the manifestation of some other element. Third one, principle of least resistance and great attraction. The direction of evolution is always towards the line of least resistance and greatest attraction. All forces and elements move along the line of least resistance and great attraction. Fourth one, principle of gradual motion. For evolution, motion is essential, but it is not requires that motion should be at one level all the time. It may speed up or slow down. All phenomena in nature have their own particular rate and rhythm of movement, of duration and development. Movement from simple to complex. The society is moving from simple to complex and also moving from indefinite to definite stage and from known to unknown or from simple to complex or one to multiple. First one, simple society. Spencer defined the simple society as one which forms a single working whole unsubjected to any other and which the parts cooperate with or without a regulating center for certain public ends. These societies were predominantly small, nomadic, and lacking in stable relationship structure. They had low degrees of differentiation, specialization, and integration. Example, Eskimos, Fijians, Gunas, New Caledonians, Phoebes, and Indians. Second one, compound societies. Compound societies were presented as having generally come about through either a peaceful or a violent merger of two or more simple societies. They tended to be predominantly settled agricultural societies, although a majority are mainly pastoral and tended to be characterized by a division of four or five social stages and an organized priestly group. They are also characterized by industrial structures that know in advancing division of labor. Example, Teutonic peoples in the 5th century, Homeric Greeks, Julians, Hortense, Thomas, and Ashantis. Third one, doubly compound societies. Doubly compound societies were completely settled, were more integrated and a larger and more definite political structure, a religious hierarchy, a more or less rigid caste system, and more complex division of labor. Example, 11th century England, 13th century France, Sparta, Confederates, ancient Provence, and Gutamans. And fourth one, triply compound societies. It includes the great civilized nations such as the Assyrian Empire, modern Great Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Russia. Spencer does not outline the traits in detail but points to their increased overall size, complexity, division of labor, popular density, integration, and general cultural complexity. The change from military society to industrial society. The military society is characterized by compulsory cooperation, but industrial society is based on voluntary cooperation. The military society has a centralized government. The industrial society has a decentralized government. The military society has economic autonomy. Industrial society has economic share. There is the domination of state over all other social organization in the military society. In the industrial society, the function of the states are very much limited. Our next contribution of Spencer, the Spencer's theory of organic analogy. Spencer came to sociology via biology, so he established the hypothesis that society is like a biological organism and then proceeded to defend it against all objections with great logical force. Spencer believed that attempt to social structure is a living organism. He took great attempt to elaborate in a great detail the organic analogy, which is the identification of society with a biological organism. He concentrated on bringing forth wonderful parallels between organic and social evolution, between similarities in the structure and evolution of organic and social units. In fact, biological analysis occupy an important role in the Spencer sociological reasoning. Similarities between biological social organism. According to Spencer, a child grows up to be a man. Similarly, a tiny community becomes a metropolitan area. The second one, primitive organisms are simple like amoeba. The highest organisms, mammals, very complex. Primitive was very simple. Modern society is highly complex. Third one, if an individual loses his leg, it does not necessarily meet with his death. Similarly, in society, if some association or a political party disintegrates, it does not invariably lead to the decay of the society. Next one, an individual has its own blood vessels for circulating blood. Similarly, society has a transportation and media for circulating. Next one, an individual has a regulating system by senses and a neural apparatus to perform the tasks. The society also has control system like folkways, norms, mores, police, etc. And next one, in organisms, each organ is complementary to the other and not opposed. Similarly, in society, each parts like institution, association is support to development. Next one, when change take place in the structure of organs and communities, there results a change in their function. Example, male, female, primitive and modern society. Next one, differentiation and harmony is common between various parts of organism. Similarly, in society also common between units. Next one, an individual has more organs. Each organ performs a specified function, hand, leg, eyes, etc. Similarly, the society, each organ performs a specified function. A groups, caste, religion, institution, association, etc. And last one, an individual one or another day maybe die. Similarly, society also. Example, Egyptian civilization, Harappa civilization, Vijayanagar civilization, so and so. And next, some you may be observe differences between organism and society. According to Spencer, Spencer had recognized important differences between societies and organisms. Various organs of the body are incapable of dependent existence. Various parts of society can exist independently. Next one, organisms have an outward form or shape. Societies have no specific external form or shape. Next one, the parts of the body are dependent upon the body itself. The parts of society are more important than the society. And next one, the parts of the organism exist for the sake of the body. The society exists for the benefit of its parts, that is individual. Fifth one, the consciousness of organism is concentrated in a small part of the aggregate. The society consciousness is diffused throughout the individual members. Next one, the parts of an animal form of a concrete whole. The part of society form a whole which is discrete. The living unit composing the one are bound together in close contact. The living units of society composing other are free or not in contract. And next one, each parts of organism performs a definite and fixed function. Functions of the parts of society often get changed. And next one, the organisms is concrete. The society is whole dispersed elements. And last one, the state and society exist for the good of the individual and not vice versa. Spencer is a champion of the philosophy of individualism. Thank you. Thank you very much.